happy Thursday. I'm just going to make this a quick one. I couldn't sleep last night at all. I went to bed about 2 o'clock and fell asleep about 2:30, woke up at 6, and so I'm a bit tired, but there's been some sort of intense energies, and I spent all day staring at the sun really, and I don't know, maybe I was processing a lot. I had a lot of things going through my mind, but I had no pen and paper here. I'm at the kid's dad's house and he's at my house looking after the kids, and I couldn't find a pen and paper to write down all my thoughts, usually am. And so I did a few videos, just to voice it out, because I've not spoken for so long. And so I've been battling, again, obviously, with the old ego, and having trouble with the videos, because there's a balance for me, and there's a lesson that we all individually have to go through, where we sort of find our own point of honesty and integrity, and versus ego and judging and projecting or whatever, and sometimes, obviously, I'm a sovereign being, and I think I said being then, and I want to talk about whatever I want to talk about, and there's many things that I need to talk about soon, but I'm aware not to rush anything, because I'm not quite there yet. There's a mental awareness, a space where you get in where you think you know everything, but if you haven't flipped it inside and used it to understand the lesson, to solidify the lesson, within your being, what you project is mismatched. And so the last few days, it's really hot over here. It's like a heat wave or something, which I'm not really fond of, if I'm honest. I think it's my gingery skin, I like the sun, I love looking at the sun, but I don't like the heat. It makes me sweaty, agitated, just a bit grumpy really. Although at the same time, it's so beautiful, and it's really nice, to be outside. It's just, fucking hot and intense. So there's loads of things that I want to talk about. I've got so many things that I really need to talk about, but now's not really the right time, because I'm still struggling inside, and so if I were to attempt to talk about these things that I think I've learned, mentally, it's going to be a little bit hypocritical or contradictory. The the frequency from my being, my body, my voice, my words won't match, the story I've created around that understanding in my head. And so it's like there's always part of me that wants to talk about things that I've consumed or seen or heard, or perhaps how I think the collective that I observe anyway. Obviously, we're all part of our own collectives. I like to observe and see where things are going, I've been addressing honestly with myself that I'm still putting too much weight on listening to other people's information, and it's all distraction, and obviously I love the sky, I love looking at the sky, and it leaves me in awe every single day. Every time I look at the sky, every single time there's something worth capturing on the video, there's something worth looking at, and trying to understand, not just in a spiritual or metaphysical way, but also in a physical, atmospheric, tangible way. And once you've removed the fear, there's nothing really to think about. You just look at it in awe and go, wow, look at this moment right here, right now. So integrity has been a big thing, and when I first started this channel, which was 13 months ago, I didn't care how many views or subscribers or likes or dislikes or what kind of comments came towards me, and as the years gone on and I've acquired a few more people listening, the pressure got a little bit too much. And last night I was just kind of like aligning with giving up, you know, the surrender to the part of my ego that, you know, would place me against other people or within the same camp as somebody else or whatever. And I'm like, fuck it, you know. I've never sold myself in any way. Actually, I've downplayed myself and I've degraded myself, or I've been too self-deprecating. I've not had enough confidence or clout, you know, within myself to actually sell myself. So I've never promoted my videos, I've never tagged anything, I've never been one of these serial commenters that you see all over that are just commenting their own spew all over everybody else's stuff so that people come to their channel and watch them and follow them, follow me. And it's been something that has been on my mind throughout this whole year, because I thought that there was a part of me that was like envious of that. But really, I'm still within my own knowing and integrity and intuition that if I were to sell myself, if I were to promote myself or start, you know, I don't know, trying to get more views or subscribers or whatever, that the people that actually listened wouldn't necessarily resonate because they've not been brought here through divine fucking algorithms. You know, they've been brought here by me. Come here, look at me, listen to me. And you know, I guess we all embody and display integrity in our own ways. And, you know, I'm not belittling anyone else, I'm just affirming to myself, you know, that really all of this shit means nothing. It's really amazing to feel like you've got some support and some community. Affirmation's great, everybody likes their ego stroking, and, you know, nice words, great conversation, or I resonate, blah 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 blah. But still, it's just me, my own little journey, the same as you on your little journey, big journey, you know. So I've been balancing these thoughts for a while now, you know, the need for me to stay true in the nature of myself growing organically and only speaking about things that I'm experiencing. So quite often it is the, you know, the more painful things that I feel like I can share because I'm going through them at the moment, or the moment of the video over the years or whatever. And after being honest and in integrity about the pain that we're in, then, you know, then we do get to use the words and connect the information to project out in some form of, you know, truth or wisdom. But if you start spouting shit before you've understood internally, it is, for me, it's the same as selling yourself. So I observe this in many others as well as myself, like I said, and I'm always keeping myself in check. But yeah, just last night I was just like, fuck it, you know, fuck it. Everything around me has been breaking, people's cars that I've borrowed, you know, my dad or my dad's friend or whoever the car that I've borrowed, because my car's broken, has broken as well while I've been using it. And so it's left me with this funny sort of accusational persecution type energy feel. And that's been a big trigger my whole life. I don't know if it's ancestral karma, you know, witch hunty type persecution vibes, or if it's something, you know, in childhood which, you know, propelled this loop of awareness of this type of energy. But I did sort of trace it back to a few things in my childhood, and I once stole a £20 note out of my mum's wallet when I was about 5 or 6, and I gave it to my friend who had no money, and her family didn't really have much money, and I really wanted to make her happy, but anyway, her dad found it, and you know, it made me feel like a villain when I was trying to be, you know, a hero to give it her and make her feel better. And yeah, there's been some sort of thing ever since then around stealing. You know, I've never stolen anything apart from Twix at a shop once when I was a kid, and I got caught and I threw the money at him. It was an adrenaline kick, but I am genuinely not that type of person. I do have integrity for myself and for my behaviours, and I think it is this second awareness thing, this witness thing, that is so very important. And I don't even know, sometimes it feels like there's, you know, the one awareness, then there's a higher awareness, and then there's almost a third awareness somewhere where you can sit above it all and dip into both sides of the duality to learn the lessons, you know, the dark or the light or whatever. Or you can just sit above and whatever. But so this witness thing's been on my mind. I've always, growing up, and even now, if someone says I've lost something, I'll be like pouring my bag on this side. Look, I've not got it. It's not me. You know, trust me. I'm truthful. I'm in integrity. I'm not a twat. I'm not a manipulative person. I'm not trying to get anything off anyone. You know, I'm the opposite. I'm more of a giver. But again, this balance of boundaries and not people pleasing, not giving myself away too much, not feeling like I have to back down, you know, just sort of keep on my track and go forward. So lots of things have been breaking, including my tooth. You can't really see it, but if I did a massive smile, you would. I bit into a baguette the other day and swallowed my tooth, chewed up my mouthful, and then my tongue found the hole and went, what the fuck? So everything's breaking. Phone cracked, and the speaker don't work. Same with my iPad. Obviously, first world problems. My iPad's cracked and blah blah blah. But yeah, it's all coming down. I haven't got a pot to piss in, no money. I've had to be, you know, asking for help, which I don't really like to do, but I'm getting through it. And you know, it's just one of these things again, and it never really clicks for you to release until you're through it. So I'm sort of midway through it now. I'm feeling good today, apart from, you know, very little sleep. And I'm looking forward to going back to see the kids and, you know, just sort of adjusting again. I've been very aware of the power of my voice recently, and it's something that I've always been aware of growing up, and I kind of always kind of had as well, affirmation or ego stroke about my brain and my voice. And so they were the things that I felt like were my talents, and I still do, you know. I don't necessarily feel like I need to be perky and put my face on the camera or anything like that. That's more of my need to bear all and show the truth, you know, but I don't always need to do that. So yeah, the distractions are everywhere, and nobody is immune to it. We're all susceptible to it, and we all have our own distractions, our own desires, needs, wants and pulls. And I found myself, again, over the last few days, spending too much time on the internet, on the phone, you know, looking at stuff, listening to things which, quite honestly now, no offence meant, and obviously this is not personal to anybody listening or whatever, you know, this is whatever, but I find that much of the things that I used to listen to are no longer relevant to me. They're just not. I'm at a different stage of my journey, and really what I need to do is start unsubscribing to people that I've subscribed to and winding it all back. And I haven't done that for a while because I felt like I don't know, I just didn't. But because the subscriptions were still there, the pull to still listen to somebody else's shit was still there. So I'm going to have a little word with myself, delete a load of subscriptions, and if you're listening to this and I don't resonate with you, just delete your subscription to me, and that's fine. I will never take offence. I've noticed as well that, you know, my numbers of subscribers, although I've never, like I said earlier, I've never promoted myself and I've never really hung on to that as something to make me feel good. Obviously, the higher it gets, you kind of do. But mine go down, you know, they don't really go up anymore, they go down, views change, you know, things like that. Personally, I think it's a lot of bollocks, you know, subscribers, views, likes, dislikes, all that type of thing. I don't trust it anyway. I think it's spat out data a lot of the time, and, you know, with some real connections in there because you can see because they comment, you know. But again, AI bots or, you know, just whatever, faceless, nameless accounts, what is the numbers and the data, it's just bullshit and it bamboozles us. And I've said this before, you know, it says on my YouTube analytics, it's all wrong, it's all messed up, I know it is. 100% of my audience, people that listen to me, are female and all between the ages of 28 to 35, or I just know that's not true. And, you know, when you really start thinking about, oh, how do they know? How do they know that? And how can they pull that much data from everyone? It's like, oh, you just don't understand technology. It's like, I don't know. I don't even need to. It's bullshit, and shit like that attacks the ego and affects the ego, but in ways that we need to, again, flip inside and help ourselves. So it's all a journey, no judgment on anyone or anything. It's just me personally. I'm kind of bored with the relentlessness of the collective narrative of the journey. And I've spoken about before, sometimes I'm very sceptical of groups or narratives, and I see how they're being pulled or where they're being pulled, and I try and look at things in a mental health situation. And, you know, awakening is a tricky thing, having a Kundalini awakening or a spiritual awakening or taking psychedelics, and, you know, rerouting your brain is a big deal, and you've really got to be strong of mind, and you need to understand what's going on during the process. And I think that many people don't, and I think they just like to jump on the bandwagon, and they just want to hear what makes them feel better instead of, you know, what they need to address. And so all we ever do is point and look outside, and they're this, they're that, this is this, this is that. And, you know, it's, for me, it's like, whoosh, you know, and that's all I ever do. And so I've been hard on myself my whole life, and I'm easing up on this, but I'm grateful for that part of me, because I'm really understanding and embodying the meaning within me, you know, and what it really means for me, what I'm actually trying to do on my journey of mastering energy and consciousness. I don't know, you know, like when I had my Kundalini awakening, I regained my sovereignty. It was so obvious, palpable, tangible. It was what my first video was about, you know, 5D, the magic, being a sovereign being, being free, sort of being the controller of your, you know, the avatar coming to life, basically. So you claim your sovereignty, and then you solidify your sovereignty with your own personal behaviours and actions. I've not been proud of myself in the last couple of days because I've become a lot more snappy, and the power of the words and the tone of the voice, which I can project, can be very unnecessary sometimes, you know. I can be very scary. Just with my eyes and my voice and my tone, and granted, it will always be justified in my head, you know, if there's disrespect happening, or, you know, bad behaviours that need to be sort of addressed. For the last few months I've been super chill, and I noticed the last 2 days that I've been snappy and my tone has not been good. My tone, my frequency, my vibration when I've spoken, it's not been good, it's not been warranted. Again, I'm easing up on myself, but I spent a long time yesterday sort of addressing this, and so yeah, shaking off the agitation, the tests, and, you know, I'm just trying to flow through these tricky times and, you know, wait for the tide to turn. So I hope everybody's feeling alright. Like I said, I've got shitloads of things that I need to talk about. I don't know when I'll get the chance to. It'll probably be Saturday. Not that anyone gives a shit, I'm just telling myself here, you know, permission to sort of not have so much on my mind. Yeah, the witness, and that was the difference. It was doing the YouTube videos, having the witness, and not 10,000 witnesses, because I've got 10,000 subscribers. It's just the fact that it's on YouTube for anyone or no one to listen to. It's solidifying the witness, and it's a really integral part of sharing and bearing and being honest and true. So it helps me, you know. So it's not felt good. Well, obviously I can share my Sky things, but I don't actually talk to anybody, really. One person, you know, the kid's dad, I'll talk truthfully to him about my internal journey. My parents are not interested, you know. I tried a long time last year and then gave up. You know, everyone's on their own journey, at their own state of consciousness. Forgive them, for they do not know. Everybody's doing the best and all that jazz. So I just gave up, and I kind of gave up on, you know, I've let go of a lot of things. I don't stay really in touch with anybody that I used to anymore. I have pretty much one friend, which is the kid's dad, really, and sometimes that will propel me into like a victim mode, like, why, I'm so fucking cool, why have I got no friends? But it's one of those things on the journey, isn't it? The isolation is part of it. I've had it for years now, and that's cool again, because I'm not compromising myself and I'm staying with my integrity. I'm just needing to integrate, you know, a little bit more. And like I said, there's a fine balance on this spiritual awakening, and we do have to remember that we're here on earth, and hopefully for a long time, you know, that we can have healthy, happy, long lives and whatnot. But, you know, the journey's endless. The climb is, the waves are continuous, and we find new ways to ride the waves and even change the tide, and that's great. But it's not like, you know, life carries on happening, the shit show carries on around you. I was laughing about Boris Johnson yesterday. I had this notification pop up on the old demon device. Boris Johnson's first speech as the new Prime Minister, it was like 6-7 minutes long. I listened to it, and I was like, woof, okay, I've had enough of that. When I look at any political leader or any political figures, and I listen to what they're saying, and there's no depth and there's no integrity or honesty within what they're saying. They're reading off scripts, they're puppets, whether they know it or not, and quite often they look so ridiculous. They are just like caricatures. It's like, I don't know if anybody knows this, but over in England there was an old like political satire TV show called Spitting Image back in the 80s or 90s or something, and that's what these politicians are like, these heads of states or countries or whatever, you know. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Donald Trump, Kim Jong-un, Boris Johnson, Nigel Farage, any of them, they're just like these, Theresa May, you know, they're these ridiculous puppets. And you know, it's okay, because that is part of the existence here in the transformation. But I'm not tuning into that shit anymore. That's the first thing. I didn't even know he was Prime Minister. I didn't know what was going on. I don't really know what's going on with Brexit. I don't give a shit either, and I'm not ignorant. I'm choosing to be ignorant of it. I'm choosing to ignore the irrelevancy and the shit show around me and just continue focusing. I always feel like it's like, you know, like standing in the middle of a storm, in the tornado, and everything's fucking flying around you, but if you can just hold your ground and your integrity and your heart, you know, you'll get through it, and you might land in a magical land, Neverland, the, what do you call it, when Dorothy goes into whatever, you know. So I kind of feel like that. I'm doing some deep clearing, and it's much harder. It's much harder to do it in actuality. To stay away from the technology. I've got so much I want to talk about because I've been consuming a little bit about Neuralink, you know, Elon Musk's new brain chip idea, and trying to not get too carried away with my initial intuitions about all this, and things that I want to talk about connected to that and connected to AI and technology, really. But basically, it doesn't matter. The distractions are everywhere, and we can choose to sink or swim. And so, you know, grace for ourselves, and you have to laugh in the face of evil, laugh in the face of destruction, laugh in the face of fuckery, and you know, just carry on. So yeah, lots I want to talk about in terms of integrity versus ego, and the different sort of subsections of that, just through my being, that I'm noticing and noting and releasing bit by bit. But I guess now's not the time. I've got to get back. And yes, anyway, happy Thursday. I hope everybody's feeling well. And if everything's breaking around you, it's for a reason. Everything's there for us to learn from, and ultimately to help us. And ain't that the truth, you know? Difficult childhoods, there to help you, there to teach you, you know. Any other difficulties in relationships, difficulties being a parent, difficulties financially, difficulties in health, whatever, everything's there for us to flip around inside and learn from. It's just a lot easier said than done. And so we need to be doing the doing and speaking the truth of our being at that moment with integrity and honesty, and not allowing the ego, which judges and divides and makes itself important, you know, all that. So here I am, toothless, carless, penniless, and today's still better than it was yesterday. So anyway, happy Thursday, bye.